Good morning. This is Nigel Burns from the law offices of Nigel Burns, continuing to work remotely, but working hard for our clients. And one of the things we're going to talk about right now in this conversation or series of videos about divorce is child custody. There are two types of child custody for legal purposes or for consideration by the court. One is what's called physical custody, and the other is legal custody. Physical custody is basically where, involves time with the child living with you or the children living with you. And invariably in divorces or, even where a couple are not married but have children together and are no longer together, the courts are going to make decisions about who has physical custody and how it's divided up. And there can be joint physical custody where both parents basically have close to equal time with the child or children. There can be primary physical custody where one parent has quite a bit more time, and the designation primary physical custody can be important when it comes to things like whether a parent plans on moving to a different state or something like that. And then there can be custody and visitation where one parent doesn't necessarily have any legal custody rights, but they just have rights to visitation. And so those various forms of custody really depends upon the level of involvement that both parents have with the children. It depends on, if one parent maybe has works all the time or has issues with alcohol or drugs or something like that, domestic violence. Those can all have bearings on whether a parent gets more or less time with their children in the event of a divorce or separation. The other type of custody is what's called legal custody. And what that is basically the decisions that parents have to make all the time with respect to schooling and medical decisions, etc., even sometimes choice of religion or how someone is raised with religion. And so those are things that even when a couple is living together, sometimes it's difficult to make joint decisions or make decisions that are agreed on by both. And in the case of a divorce or separation, that can be even more difficult. Typically, courts are going to award both parents legal custody. It's rare that a court will, not allow one parent to have a say in their child or children's education or medical decisions. But again, it depends upon, things like whether there's been domestic violence or drugs or alcohol, the level of involvement in the child's life. Sometimes parents, when they get divorced, etc., they tend to, be obstructive for the sake of it, and courts don't look on that very kindly typically. So those are, the two types of custody that you need to consider that attorneys deal with when dealing with divorces, etc. And to get a better understanding of that, it's again a good idea to contact a lawyer. And our firm, like many others, are still taking appointments, not in person, but on Zoom or on the phone, and call for consultation. Typically those consultations are free, and it's a good idea to get a better understanding of what your rights and your partner's rights are going to be before you venture down the road of divorce and custody battles, etc. Thank you. Have a good day and stay safe.